Hi, I'm your socialist grandfather, Gary Engler. Last episode, I offered the top 10 general reasons to hate capitalism. This episode begins a focus on more concrete, current day, specific problems with our 21st century's version of minority rule. Where to start? Oligarchies have openly taken over governments all around the world. Neoliberalism supporters have succeeded. The Donald Trump 2 imperial presidency is just the most recent example. Of course, wealthy people have long shaped governments, but a president's on again, off again partnership with the richest man in the world and other billionaires was a spectacularly brazen display of a wealthy minority's unchecked power. It revealed the so called libertarian, Ayn Randian mindset in actual action. The billionaires have exposed their authoritarian, anti democratic way of wielding power. This should not have been a surprise because billionaires have never allowed democracy within the corporations they own. Capitalism's property rights give billionaires the power of dictators. Top down, unquestioned obedience is the power they are familiar with and seek. Neoliberalism was always about using their muscle to weaken or eliminate the sway of electoral democracy. Once upon a time, self described socialists actually thought they could work with capitalists to reform the system. The fantasy was capitalists would create the wealth and social democratic governments would redistribute it so that countries could achieve the good life for all. Well, guess what? Neoliberalism proved that the average capitalist doesn't care about a good life for all. The average capitalist is motivated by greed. The average capitalist will use the power that ownership of his property, our means of livelihood, our social labor, to increase his profits. They moved our jobs to other countries to increase their profits. They were in favor of free trade and driving down wages when it increased their profits. Then some of them decided taxes on imports could replace income taxes and thus increase their profits. So we got tariffs that are causing hundreds of thousands of layoffs around the world. What makes sense to the owners of our economy is only rarely in the interest of most human beings. The wealthiest capitalists have the power to make others pay for their successes and failures. In our billionaire run oligarchy, millions of lonely, disconnected, discarded, and rootless people have resulted in a huge wave of mental illness and addiction, plus an equally damaging inertia that leads to political nihilism. Millions don't believe in anything and don't disbelieve in anything. I don't like the way things are, but there's nothing we can do or not do that changes anything, they say. Even people who claim to be the left barely put up any fight to this alienation producing state of affairs. In fact, the left barely offers much of an alternative to capitalism and its minority rule at all. Self proclaimed social democrats or liberals in the USA sometimes offer to tinker around the edges of capitalism, social programs to ameliorate certain horrors that capitalism causes. Self proclaimed communists or Marxist Leninists offer a revolution in which the minority rule of capitalism is replaced by another form of minority rule, the so called dictatorship of the proletariat. Self proclaimed anarchists offer smashing the state, a supposed left version of what many billionaires are trying to achieve, so that there is no power greater than theirs. Even most unions, which capitalists are always trying to destroy, can't seem to oppose our system of minority rule. New forms of fascism are stepping into this void. German Nazis demonized Jews, homosexuals, and communists as the others to blame and take workers' focus away from inequality, inflation, unemployment, and other failures of capitalist minority rule. Today's extreme right scapegoats immigrants, woke leftists, and transsexuals for precisely the same purpose. And they have been successful in attracting billionaires to fund their political parties. Social democratic supporters of capitalism seem blind to a basic fact about the interplay between our economic and political systems. Power in the economic system, ownership of the economy, is also power in the political system. That's obvious. In a capitalist system, capitalists will always have more power than non capitalists. The notion that a country, a world, can have a political democracy that coexists with dictatorship in the economic sphere is simply not true. A one person, one vote political system will inevitably be destroyed by a $1, one vote economic system. This is the fundamental lesson of our neoliberal era. Thank you.